Yo, what it do, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. This is Phantom Frequency, where we dive into the entire multiverse of pop culture, music, anime, TV, movies, anything in between. We talk about it here on the channel. So make sure you jump below the video, click all the buttons, and jump into those comments and let us know what you thought about these latest and greatest pop culture topics of the week. I'm your host, Will, and today we're bringing you the 15th episode of our pop culture news show. What's the word, y'all? And like I obviously just said at the top here, we just get into all the different various big topics throughout the week in the world of movies, music, TV, anime, anything of that nature. And today we are diving into some very interesting ones. And the main topic of discussion is the biggest bitch move ever in hip hop. That's right, y'all. Drake is suing his own record label, UMG, aka Universal Music Group, for defamation on one thing, and then another one for bloating the numbers of What's Like Us on streaming platforms and whatnot. And let me tell you what, guys, the fact that this guy is suing Kendrick or the actual record label, my bad, and isn't suing Kendrick for one directly shows you right there. Number two, the fact that he's suing a guy that he got into a rap beef with, where he made songs accusing him of domestic abuse. He also said that Kendrick may have been violated, all this kind of stuff. None of this stuff was founded to be true or proven to be true with any sort of evidence. And he's making all these wild ass claims, just like Kendrick did about Drake being creepy, A minor, right? So how are you going to sue somebody when you did the same fucking shit? And it was the same label putting out you and Kendrick shit. It's the biggest bitch move ever. He pulled a fucking Karen on this one, man. I can't believe this. I have never heard of a hip hop or rap beef at all where somebody sues somebody for defamation of all things. And then the fact that he's actually suing his own record label in a bid, I think, to renegotiate his contract or potentially get the fuck out of there and go independent, one or the other, when they already offered him $400 million on the previous deal that he's currently still under contract for or is about to expire out of. Another thing, there's been plenty of accusations and things out there that point to the fact that Drake and many other artists out there have potentially, if not more than likely, used these different bots and ways of cheating the system to inflate their numbers and having the labels push their music onto everyone even more so than anything else. Hotline Bling, you know what I'm saying? All that shit that Drake was releasing 5-6 years ago, all those songs that you couldn't fucking escape. Yeah. So the fact that he is potentially, if not more than likely, use the same things to inflate his numbers and get his shit out there and market it over everybody else and pull a YouTube putting their fucking shit, putting their album on your iTunes thing. All you freaking millennials are going to know what I'm talking about. So come on, man. How are you going to be this sore of a loser because you lost the rap beef? Because I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It is without a doubt proven between Drake's actions, what has happened to him since, where he can't even chart in the top 200 Billboard over 100 or 50 spot on any singles, hasn't put out an album. All his releases have completely flopped. How are you going to tell me he didn't lose the beef? His reputation has been tarnished because of what Kendrick said and Not Like Us. Kids are out there yelling A minor, 20, 30, 40,000 people at Camp Flog Gnaw, one of the biggest fucking festivals in Southern California, screaming and singing along to every word of this shit. The biggest song of the year in almost any genre, if not the biggest song, one of the top three, the biggest hip hop song without a doubt. Come on, man. Kendrick's playing the Super Bowl. Big as the what? Yeah, Kendrick's bigger than the Super Bowl, bro. Come on. It's definitive, y'all. Be objective. Don't be a Drake stan. Just realize he lost the battle. I respect him for going into battle with the fucking GOAT, in my personal opinion, and Kendrick, or one of the top, or one of the big three, as they say, one of the best people in the game. You can't deny that. I give Drake all the props in the world for being able to hang in there with him for a while and being able to spar with one of the legends out here. Drake's had an unprecedented run in hip hop for the past 10 to 15 years. Hands down, I'm there. I'm with y'all. I remember when he was on Degrassi before he was even a rapper, okay? I've seen Drake and Kendrick's careers from that time of 2010, 2011, all the way to now. I've followed the entire trajectory and paths of their careers. Never was as big of a Drake fan as I am a Kendrick fan. No duh. Kendrick's literally my favorite hip-hop artist today and maybe my favorite rapper all time. So, of course, there's some bias there. I'm not going to front there. But if you're looking at this shit objectively, Drake lost the beef, all right? And the fact that he's suing his own record label and doing it over a diss track when he's the one that lost, when he literally clowned Meek Mill in the same way that Kendrick is clowning him when he won that beef. Come on, man. Come on. Like, you gotta keep it real. This is not hip hop. This is not what the culture's feeling. Like it says in the Kendrick track, this really is not hip hop. This is really not what the culture was built on. This is really not what it's about. He's pulling a fucking Karen because he's the biggest sore loser possibly of all time in anything competitive between sports and fucking entertainment. I'm telling you, this is unprecedented. And it's so crazy of a bitch move. It sometimes leaves me at a loss for words, man. It's insane to me that this is happening over a goddamn rap beef. I guarantee you, if in our eyes or in the most public perception, if it was looked at that Kendrick lost this beef, he wouldn't pull this fucking move. I'm telling you, very few MCs will pull this fucking move. This goes to show you Drake ain't from the street. Drake ain't from, doesn't understand the culture. Drake's privileged. Drake's a fucking Karen at this point, man. He's a fucking hip hop Karen, bro. Hashtag hip hop Karen. You heard it here first, bro. Straight up. Let's keep it real. Hip hop's been a big part of my life. I've been a part of the culture. I've been in there, man. I ain't famous. I ain't moved numbers. I'm not like Schoolboy Q going around the world putting up stats. I get it. But I'm in the culture. I'm in the fucking genre. I'm a huge fan, almost lifelong. I know what hip hop's about, and it definitely ain't about suing people for defamation on fucking rap beefs when you're doing the same shit on tracks saying shit that is fucking proven. That could ruin Kendrick's reputation as well. Got to keep it real, man. I can't fucking believe this is actually happening, man. But y'all let me know what you think about all this Drake crazy shit. And on my audio music focused podcast, Phantom FM is going to be premiering in 2025 with season 2. I'm going to cover the entire Drake Kendrick beef and all of the hip hop in the year that was 2024 for hip hop culture, and how that's going to evolve. That's going to be one of the main topics of that premiere episode for season 2. So if you're interested in me getting into more of those discussions, go over there. I also have a review for Kendrick's album GNX and all that stuff. But you can't tell me this isn't a big Drake move, y'all. You got to keep it real, man. You got to keep it real. But it's time for us to move into the next topic. And we got some updates, just a small one from I Know What You Did Last Summer. They're doing a reboot that's going to be taking place in the same continuity of the original film, at least. I'm not sure if any of the sequels are going to count, but I feel like they are. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not the guy to ask, per se. I'm no reporter. I'm just a nerd that's getting out what's the word, right? So yeah, so you got it's officially underway. So they're actually filming the movie as we speak. I'm not sure exactly what country or state they're doing it in, but it is in the works. Freddie Prinze Jr. is officially a part of the cast. Sarah Michelle Gellar also recently posted something from behind the scenes claiming that there's some kind of reunion going on between her being Daphne Blake and her real life husband Freddie being Freddie in the Scooby-Doo live action films from the 2000s. One of my two of my childhood jams right there. Always been a big Scooby-Doo fan, so that's how I kind of discovered them as well. And through I Know What You Did Last Summer being the most adult film, the first adult type of thing I seen from both of them. So I'm a very casual fan of I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I thought it was interesting that they are finally and officially filming it. It will be, I think, coming out sometime next year. I know Camila Mendez was supposed to be a part of this at one time, but she ended up, I think, dropping out of this movie to be in the Masters of the Universe reboot that they're doing in live action. So that's going to be hella interesting to see if she made the right move there. I don't really necessarily know how this is going to tie into the original films and or sequels, or if they're going to pull a Halloween 2018 and just jump from the first sequel on and erase all the rest. I have no idea. I don't necessarily think that's required or that's necessary to do. I think the films are fine enough. I don't think any of them are particularly great films. So I think there's nowhere to go but up from here for the most part, except for the nostalgia and a bit of the reputation that I Know What You Did Last Summer has with some of the 90s kids out there. I really do think there's quite a bit of room for improvement in ways that they can exceed what came before and still honor it at the same time. So I don't necessarily think they have to get rid of all the other continuity of the sequels. I just wouldn't address the third movie and just keep the first two as canon personally. Not that the third one isn't a part of canon. I just wouldn't address it at all. So you can kind of play fast and loose with it and keep it in a limbo state if you ever want to dive into any of those elements and kind of repurpose anything. Don't remember shit from that movie, but I don't remember liking it when I watched it in the early mid 2000s. So not really sure where they can jump off from, except for bringing back Jennifer Love Hewitt potentially as well. I think that was made official, but correct me if I'm wrong. So I think we're getting at least two of the original cast members, two of them being the people you see on the screen right there, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. respectfully. But yeah, so I Know What You Did Last Summer should actually come out, and as long as it doesn't get shelved, we should be seeing this within a year or so. But y'all let me know if you got any hype or any excitement for this reboot. I'm not necessarily a big fan of it, but I'm a kid of the Scream era, so I'm definitely intrigued by it, and definitely was a gateway drug for me getting into slashers for sure. So let's see what we got here next. Oh, nice. Scream 7 casting. We got two new additions to the cast. Not exactly sure what characters they're going to be playing. I would assume they're going to be friends of Sydney's daughter, who's going to be played by Isabel May. And we got two new casting choices here of Celeste O'Connor and Asa German. The girl on your left there, Celeste O'Connor, she was in the Ghostbusters sequels recently, Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. She was also in that god-awful movie, Madam Web, that actually came out this year. It's kind of crazy to think. I felt like it came last year, but I double-checked that before I recorded. It came out in February of this year. What a shitbox that was, but hilarious shitbox at that. And then you got Aisha German over there, who was in Dahmer, I think, on Netflix, and he was also a really big pivotal role on Gen V, the Boys spinoff over there on Amazon Prime. And I love that series and that entire universe that they got going on over there. And they got some more spinoffs in the works as well in the Boys universe. So who knows what Ace German might be a part of next, depending on the timeline of all that stuff. But we got both of these young actors here, actresses, whatever the fuck you want to say, included in Scream 7. And it's nice that they're really filling out this cast. We're kind of getting these updates almost every other week or so now. So it's going to be really intriguing to see where Scream 7 goes, if they have to make a time jump, how this is all going to tie back into the previous 6 installments between the Carpenter sisters not being a part of the franchise anymore, and with us losing Dewey and Gale Weathers, aka Courtney Cox, coming back. A lot of cool and potential a lot of potential for this Scream sequel. I'm definitely bummed that we're not going to get the Carpenter sisters in any capacity. I kind of figured Jenna Ortega was going to move on regardless of the controversy that happened or not. But the Melissa Barrera stuff to me was very unnecessary and a very, very big blow to the franchise and a very bad move on their part. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Neve Campbell, my favorite Scream queen of all time, my favorite final girl of all time, and Sidney Prescott, my favorite horror franchise. So I got a lot of love for Neve Campbell. I'm always going to. I just feel like past this installment, I don't think there's much you can do. And unless we really fall in love with her daughter and those other characters around her in the same way we did in Scream 5 with the newer characters or the original characters in the first two films, I think they're going to be maybe riding themselves into a bit of a corner and might have to really beg her, being Melissa Barrera, to come back. I don't think there's a lot of potential really with Sydney past this point. So I think other than showing her being a mother and having to protect in that maternal way, there's not really much you can do that's fresh after this point. And if they're in Seattle or wherever, that's another thing. You've done this location. So doing the same location again, other than it being Woodsboro, doesn't carry the same nostalgia or the same kind of fanfare or familiarity to it, while still feeling like something you want to see as opposed to something that they're repeating and you're kind of tired of. So I'm not quite sure where Scream 7 is going to go 100% yet, but I'm still excited for it. It's coming out like February of 2026. So we got a while to wait, just a little bit over a year. But cool to see they're getting a lot of really good young actors to fill out the cast for the younger generation of characters they're introducing in this, with Sydney's daughter played by Isabel May. And potentially Mackenzie Grace could be one of the other siblings, because I think she does have multiple daughters or kids. And I did see that theory from a fan actually in one of the comments on my last Scream update. They actually had a fan theory that McKenna Grace could be the younger sister in this situation. So really awesome fan theory, or really awesome theory. My bad. I'm a fan too. Didn't mean to say it that way, but really awesome theory from one of the fellow supporters on the channel. So if you remember yourself being that person who left a comment, let me know below. I can't quite remember the name of the username, to be completely transparent with y'all, but I appreciate everyone coming in the comments, dropping these awesome ideas for me to discuss with you guys as well. So y'all let me know what you think about these new casting choices for Scream 7. What's your hype level for Scream 7? And do you want to see that Kirby Reed spinoff that's potentially in the works as well? I'm very curious about all that. So moving right along here, we got some sad news for this topic. The longest running drummer of My Chemical Romance, Bob Breyer, recently passed away, I think literally on my birthday this past week at the age of 44. He was found deceased in his home, and he had been, apparently due to the condition that his corpse was in, he had been there for a while. And he had tweeted something several days before his death, and that was the last thing anyone heard from him, and no one had seen him or heard from him since that tweet. So I'm very curious to see what the cause of death ultimately came out to be. As of the recording of this video, I didn't see any updates or anything, but if anyone sees anything and I don't update it within the comments or pinned comments myself, you can always drop into the comments and let me know if you heard anything else about his unfortunate passing. And for those that maybe aren't aware, or this is your first time on the channel, I am a huge My Chemical Romance fan. I have been a fan of them since 2004 with the release of Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, which is when Bob Breyer came into the band. He didn't perform any of the tracks on the recordings of the album. That was the original drummer, Mark Pelissier. But Bob Breyer was in all the music videos and did all the touring and promotional stuff for MCR from that point all the way to 2012 or 2013 with the release of Danger Days, their fourth album and final album as a band, as far as we know, or at least their final album as of the recording of this in December of 2024. But yeah, man, I've always been a huge fan of them. Bob Breyer, I think, is always one of those underrated drummers that's not the most flashy or technically like crazy proficient, but his feel and overall style is really awesome for the style of like emo punk influence things that they were playing. And he added some really great like pop sensibility to the overall sound of MCR, but never lost those chops and was able to be very diverse and kind of giving whatever they needed for the different material they were doing. He didn't necessarily write everything on Danger Days, but on the Black Parade, he was all involved with that through and through from beginning to end. And seeing the way that he interpreted the songs on Three Cheers live, especially back in 2004, between 2004 2006, until the release of Black Parade, when all we had really to go off of was him playing the original first album. I brought you my bullets, you brought me your love, and then the obvious follow up there from 04, Three Cheers. Really cool to see the progression that he had with the band and the way that he was able to elevate the sound. And another cool thing about Bob Breyer that I've connected to since learning more about him as an adult, he actually was an audio engineer and a mixing engineer for like Thrice and the Used and different bands like that on the road, and was an audio engineer as well before he actually becoming a full-time drummer with MCR and beyond. And I thought that was so cool how I've done both of those things because I'm an audio engineer as well. I engineer the show and have done different recordings and different things over the years now. And I'm still building on my resume as we speak. So it's really cool kind of how we have that similarity as well. So I've always felt kind of a kinship with Bob Breyer as a creative and as a fan. And it's really sad to see him go. He wasn't going to come back for these MCR shows that are coming up for the Black Parade kind of a tour going on next year in 2025 throughout the U.S. and maybe other parts of the world. He wasn't scheduled to come back for that. He had actually retired as a drummer because he had an injury he sustained on the famous Last Words music video set where he got burned by the pyrotechnics, and it ended up leaving this bruising in his wrist. And for those that aren't aware, the wrist is a huge part of being a drummer. That's literally where all the power and control and the entire playing comes from, is really in your wrist and then your fingers. But it's really primarily your wrist, right? And then the finger control of bringing the sticks back. So it's really that motion kind of like this. That's really how you're drumming, you know what I'm saying? And the quicker stuff and stuff like that, that's how it is. It's that wrist motion. It's not really that arm motion that a lot of the like beginner drummers and even myself still trying to train myself completely out of that. It's all in your wrist, So that's the thing. And I've watched Bob perform in different videos and things over the years. I never got to see them live when he was with the band, unfortunately, growing up. I did see them live in like 2021 at the Forum, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it was 2021. I hope I got that right. Might have been 2022. Might have been October of 2022, actually. But I saw them at the Forum. I don't remember the name of the guy that's drumming for them now, because I think the drummer that they got after Danger Days was stealing from them or something like that, I think I read. So, yeah, so really interesting stuff going on there, but that's a whole tangent for another day. But just wanted to pay my respects to Bob Breyer. Much love to his friends and family. And, all you fellow MCR fans, get in those comments below and let me know what's your favorite song of Bob Breyer's drumming. Like, what do you think his drumming is the best on? Like, what's your favorite song or favorite groove of his? For me, it's going to be definitely Famous Last Words or House of Wolves. I really, really love that groove that he's doing. The doom, 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 doom. It's super dope, man. Really love that stuff. But yeah, man. So sound off in the comments below if you're a fellow MCR fan. Let me know about all that stuff. And if you just want to pay respects to the legend, even if you don't know, that's welcome as well. But yeah, man. So it's time for us to get into the final topic. Speaking of Drake versus Kendrick. Kendrick just announced his Grand National Tour, a stadium tour he's doing to promote GNX and potentially another album, along with SZA. going all across the globe, and they're going to be stopping and ending the fucking tour in Toronto, Canada on Father's Day, bro. Kendrick is diabolical, bro. I tell you, man. And I am too broke right now or cannot afford, I wouldn't say broke, but I am not able to afford tickets to this show right now. So I don't think I'm going to be going. But if anything changes, I will let you guys know and get a vlog and all that shit going for it, because Kendrick is definitely my favorite rapper right now. I have had the privilege of seeing him 3 to 4 times in the past, so I'm definitely very blessed, and I'm not missing out in general, because I got to at least see him. But I really want to see him with all this new material, because I haven't seen him since he released To Pimp a Butterfly. So he's released Damn, Mr. Morale, and GNX since then. So there's a lot of new material I never got to see Kendrick play live. That would be really awesome to see. I've been a big fan of SZA for a while now, and with SOS coming out a couple years ago, and a new album that's coming in the that's going to be in the works that she was talking about over there on Kai Cenat's streaming channel. Apparently, we're going to be getting an album from her before the end of the year or by the top of next year. So we got a lot of content coming from, or I shouldn't say content, but a lot of music. Excuse me, sorry about that. A lot of music coming from both of these two, and getting to see them share the stage and be able to do their thing is going to be really dope. I wonder what special guests the people are going to pull out depending on where they're performing at. And I'm sure it's going to be a really awesome production. All of Kendrick's shows are always a really big production and a big to-do. Same thing with SZA. So I think they're definitely going to bring that cinematic, very theatrical quality to it, similar to how Tyler the Creator just did on the Chromacopia tour, who's another artist I have yet to see solo live. I did see Odd Future in 2012 back in the OF WGKTA days. For those that know, you know. Saw him at Pay Dues 2012. Good time to be alive. I saw them in Wu-Tang in the same fucking thing, and Kendrick Lamar on the same show. 12 years later, it all comes around full circle. But yeah, man, so just getting that out there as well. Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Grand National Tour. There's going to be 3 dates out here in LA at the Forum, if I'm not mistaken. So if you can afford it and you're not stuck dealing with a bunch of bills and debt like I am, get out there and get those Grand National Tour tickets while you can, because they're $250 and up if you're talking about out here in Cali. So hey, I heard AZ is pretty cheap for all my Californians and other people living in New York and whatnot. I heard AZ is pretty cheap. So if you got time to travel, you got some vacation time in your job, you work from home, whatever the hell is the case. If you want to see Kendrick for a good price, you want to go see SZA, Serenade, everyone, wow. Goddamn, getting to see SZA live, smoking. I'll tell you that. But yeah, man, so Grand National Tour, Kendrick Lamar, SZA, 2 of the best artists today, getting out on the road once again. And they're going to pop out and show niggas in Toronto, bro. Squabble up, baby. Squabble up. But that's pretty much it for all the topics today on the show for What's the Word, y'all. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of What's the Word. Make sure you drop into those comments and let us know what you thought about your most interested topic of any of these. And we're going to catch you again real soon. We got some fun videos we're going to be doing with some of the recent releases like Sonic 3 coming up, Squid Game, Nosferatu, and then we're going to be doing our big top albums, top movies, top TV shows of the year, and top horror movies of the year. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for all this content that's going to be dropping over the next several weeks leading into the new year 2025, where we're going to keep building this community together, stronger than ever. So until next time, y'all, stay safe out there, and much love, and peace out.